have here a cold steel trench shovel, and I haven't really used it yet. I popped through a couple little branches on a sapling, but it's fun because it has this nice sharpened edge. But because it's sharpened, and you know it's meant to be packed around, carried around, it's not something you would just leave in your shed and take out and use. Well, I guess you could, but going out camping and stuff, it's good to have some kind of cover. And because I was looking for a good leather project to start, so I decided to make my own sheath for it, my own case, instead of buying one off Amazon. And this one, I've designed it. I didn't see any examples. I looked on YouTube, nothing specifically what I wanted to do. So I traced out my pattern on paper. I traced out the shape of the shovel. Then I added a little more than a 1/4 inch all the way around the edge. That way I would space to have my, probably closer to 1/2 inch, maybe around 1 centimeter, I don't know. Enough to have my rivet, space to have my rivet, and for the shovel to still fit. So then I cut out my pieces, I fit them together, and then I stitched in a cross piece. This is the brace, that way when this is snapped in, that it won't be unsnapped unless someone physically pops the snap and then removes it from underneath the loop. I can thread it through now. Then you can thread this through the back of your backpack or your belt even. So if you're just doing it on your belt, you can thread it through, but if you have an existing something where you can't unbuckle it, you can just snap this onto the back of your luggage or your pack or whatever you're carrying this, if you're backpacking or something similar. So that's the carrying system. And then the shovel will just slide in, and then the straps will flap over and snap shut. So now I gotta put in my last hole. I realized I was just gonna put a rivet here, 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 and here, and here and here, but now I'm deciding whether I want to do 1 or 2 on the sides. I think I'm just gonna do 1 on each side, or I could do 2. What would it look like? I'm gonna do 2 because it'll match the spacing down here. Otherwise, if I just do 1, it'll have farther gaps. Now, these rivets, they're too long, so I need to go through and I need to cut some of the material off. So this is the first time I'm going to do it, so I'm not going to start at one at the top or the bottom. I'm going to do one of the middle ones, one of the not as vital. Come off. Let's see. I don't know about that. There's little bits of gaps on the edge. Maybe I can clean that up a little bit. Now I need to punch out my slots for my snaps. It's gonna snap over. Slide the shovel in. I made it to be a snug fit at first, that way. Oh, that real snug is gonna need to be broke in. Uh-oh, is it gonna be too tight? Alright, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna go wet this, get it to fit better. Okay, so I wet formed it a little bit, ran under some water for a while. Now I can slide in and out without being super duper tight. It should break it a little more once it gets some more use. So now since the leather's a little wet still, I'm gonna kind of press it against the snap that's there to put a mark where I should punch the holes. There we go. One down. My plan is to then snap the cold steel trench shovel inside, snap it all shut, and let it dry out here in the semi-warm air. And once it's all dried out, then I'll stain it and seal the leather. Oh, no, it was alright. I forgot to put it on my special anvil piece. Huh, doesn't even look like it damaged it. Alright, that's good to know. There we go. There we go, it's buckled in. My belt loop piece is here. Now I gotta let it dry. Alright, so I have now wet formed the sheath a little bit, this shovel cover, and all the snaps and everything is functional. I went and snapped it because I'm about to dye the leather, but this is the cover. It's got some minor, just some markings and some little imperfections in the face, so I'm gonna, and some lines from penciling in, drawing in from the pattern. So I'm gonna take the shovel out of the sheath. Oh, I got a little partner right here, my little buddy, the kitty. Set that aside. And I have some really old leather dye right here that I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see what happens. So I'm gonna try it first on the back. This is actually my great-grandfather's leather dye, so we're gonna see what happens because I found it in some of his old stuff, and I'm gonna be using, because I can't find my little applicator, so I'm gonna use some cotton little face swabs that I borrowed from my sister. So if you do this, be sure to replace it if you borrowed it because you want to be responsible. So after you use it, just put it back. That way she knows where it is if she needs it. Okay. Let's see, is it even any good? I have no idea to tell if leather dye goes bad or not. Well, I'm going to try applying some on the inside of the... It says dark brown, but it looks black. Yeah, that's black. I'm gonna go with a different color. Nope. Don't play with that, buddy. That's not good for you. You can see my little assistant there. When he gets a little older, I'll train him. I have no idea how you train a cat. It's got to be the same as any kind of lizard or four-footed creature, I think. How is this gonna work? Okay, so now I'm applying, and I'm applying in a circular motion, circular pattern. That way you don't get, as it dries on, like stripes, kind of. That's what I do, because that's what I've been told and heard before. It would be ideal to wear some kind of rubber gloves, but as you can see, I am just using my natural born skin in direct combat with this leather dye, which is not ideal, but I'm not planning to do this for a long time, so just a couple projects. I wonder if I should have dyed it before I put the rivets in, because now it's harder to dye around the rivet areas. Now, look at these. I'm looking for my lap here, so I'll just come on the nice wire handle. That is here. This is where I tested out that other color dye. You can see it's a lot darker, basically a black. And then I'm just going to dye a little bit of the interior, just enough so you don't notice the color difference, so you don't see it when you slide in and out the tool. A little helper. What's he up to? I think he's almost got his part of the project finished, which is to stay out of the way right now. Just because he's still learning to do the saddle stitch, and so as soon as he gets that pat down, then he can join in some of the more active roles. Okay. Does my camera woman have any suggestions before I... Actually, this doesn't feel wet, it feels dry. It's actually drying really fast.
Looks good.
It's going to have a little bit of a weathered look. I hear that's in vogue these days. I think that's a real word I just used.
It works.
I received the okay, so it works, the word. Alright. Thread the straps back through. Fortunately, this is a work tool, so I'm not concerned if I get a little bit of dye on the handle. I need to put a little bit of more boiled linseed oil on it anyway, but that is the project as it stands. These are the loops to mount it on the outside of a pack or a backpack, or you could thread your belt through this, but the purpose is that these snaps make it able to attach to some kind of fixed strap system where the ends are sewed on, say, to a backpack. And I didn't just put straight snaps because I was worried what if those get popped off, so that's what this support cross piece is for, to make it so you have to pretty intentionally pop off the snaps and unthread it. And that is the leather cover for the Cold Steel Trench Shovel. Hope you enjoyed this little project.